Right now, there are a ton of people online showing off AI workflows they've built to analyze and generate Facebook ads, which are usually put together with Claude Code, ad network exports, or whatever creative generation tool is trending at the moment. But the problem is that these workflows break the second you're running ads at scale. And after tagging and analyzing thousands of meta ad creatives, we've built an AI agent that replaces those setups you see online, handling basically 90% of the workflow you have to do if you're running Facebook ads. So, in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how it works and how you can set it up on your own ad accounts. Let's get into it. The first part of the workflow that gets automated is the analytics layer, which is the part of the workflow that takes the longest. If you're running Facebook ads at any real volume, you already know the drill. You pull performance data out of the ads manager, cross reference it to whatever's happening on other networks, and then somebody manually tags the creatives so you can figure out which elements are actually driving results. That whole process can take up to 20 hours a week per ad account. And a lot of times, the tags end up being inconsistent because different people tag the same thing differently. So the fix is having every creative tagged automatically with AI for it to be consistent. And that's exactly why we built Segwise, which is an AI creative analytics and ad generation platform. Inside Segwise, you go to Settings, Ad Networks, and over here, you can connect any ad network that you're running ads on. As you can see, we've got over 15 plus ad network connections. For this particular demo, I've already connected Meta, Reddit, LinkedIn, and Google Ads. But if I was to connect it again, all I have to do is just click on this plus icon to add another Meta account, and I would be able to connect my Meta ad account with a simple OAuth process. Similarly, you could do the same with Reddit, LinkedIn, Google Ads, or any other ad network that you may be running your ads on. And it's not just paid social networks, we also have other networks like Axon, StackerDapt, Roku, Tapjoy, Taboola, Biddies, and more. The setup is no code and takes just a few minutes. Once your accounts are connected, the creative tagging agent goes to work on every Facebook ad creative automatically. So what happens is that the agent goes and watches every single ad creative across all the networks that you have connected. So let me show you what this looks like. I'm going to come over here, which is my creative analytics tab. This is the overview section, and over here I have a bunch of different reports, and I'm just going to go on the top image creatives by spend report. Just going to put this in a card view so that it's a lot more easier to show you guys. This is a look of all the static creators that we're running for Segwise at the moment on Meta. Segwise uses multimodal AI to break each ad down and tag every element inside it, which includes the hook scene. It could be the first dialogue, it could be the headline text, the characters, the visual style, the background music, the on-screen text, and the CTA. You can also add your own custom tags for anything specific to your brand that doesn't fit into the standard ones that Segwise would initially tag your creatives for. Now, the second agent in the stack is the creative strategy agent, which actually reads the tag data and turns it into something useful. It maps every tag back to your performance metrics like ROAS, CPA, CTR, IPM, or any other metric that you care about, and surfaces the winning creative patterns for you across all your connected networks. This is a report with the hook scene headline text, and as you can see, we have 4 primary headline text and the metrics associated with them. So you can see that I have analyzed 10,000 plus ad creatives, has this much spend, a CTR of 2.78%, and impressions of 8,810. And if I actually click on that tag, I can see the creative for which this tag has been associated. And now, because Segwise has full context across your entire account, you can also just ask it questions in plain language through AI chat. If I come over here on this chat feature, I could ask it different questions about my top performing headline. While this is happening, I think another interesting thing for me to analyze would be which hook style drove the most conversions in the last 30 days. The top performing headline across your tag creative is that I've analyzed 10,000 plus ad creatives across Meta, Google, TikTok, and more. This is the exact same tag I was showing you in the earlier report. It's a video hook headline that generated 28 sign up button clicks on a 8.3K spend for Segwise, which is outperforming every other headline by a wide margin. These are all the video headlines that are ranked by signups. So you can see all of that data here. These are the image headlines and what's driving the winner. There's a proper analysis on that. So what this means is that instead of building a custom report, you can ask what you want to know and you get a direct answer backed by your actual data. And by the way, if you want to set this up on your own ad account, you can try Segwise for free by clicking the first link in the description. Anyway, let's keep going. Now, the second part of the workflow that gets automated is the cycle between knowing what's working on Facebook and having new creatives ready to test. Historically, this is the longest part of the process because once you've figured out which elements are winning, you still have to brief a designer or an agency, wait for the first round, ask for changes, wait for revisions, and then finally launch your creatives. The whole back and forth takes a week or more, so by the time the new creatives are live, the insights they were built on are already a week old, and some of them may also be redundant. But now you can compress that whole cycle into one workflow that runs in minutes and is automated end to end. The creative strategy agent we just discovered is actually constantly passing the winning patterns it identifies into the creative generation agent, which means the hooks, CTAs, and visual treatments your data has identified as winners get handed off as inputs to your next round of creatives automatically. So let me show you what this looks like in a demo environment of a mock beauty brand that we've made called Hue and Habit. So this is what the generation agent essentially looks like. It's right over here. It's the first icon on the left nav bar. Right now, the creative generation agent is focused on static ads and video briefs, with video generation currently in closed beta, and it should be out and live in the next couple of weeks. So as you can see in this creative generation agent, there's a bunch of video briefs that have been generated along with a bunch of statics, and each of these are actually embedded in your own performance data. So if I was to open this first one over here, you can actually see the reasoning. So this one says that the original ad began with a direct product presentation, which had no discernible tension mechanics. This modified version shifts to a personal testimonial hook, which is going to be the first frame over here, creating a curiosity gap with the viewer. This change is based on performance data indicating that 61% of ads using this approach are top performers versus 0% with the current style. So every video brief or static that gets generated comes with specific reasoning for that. So if I was to show you this static over here, again, you'd see that this concept draws two distinct evidence sources. First, from this creative, which is Morning Meets Night, achieved the brand's best CTR of 4.71% using a dual product editorial composition on dark marble, proving that the two product ads can outperform single product executions when the composition avoids clutter. And the second creative, this one drop changes everything, established the dramatic product macro approach, textured surface, shadow play, product as material hero as the formula for communicating luxury without a model. This creative also essentially embedded in winning patterns from two high-performing creatives, and then the agent factors in all of that context and winning patterns to make a new creative for you. So instead of writing a brief from scratch, you're starting with inputs based on what's already working, and you can tweak them if you want to take the next round in a different direction. So from there, you can send these video briefs to your creative team or your agency to actually work on these videos and generate them for you and turn them into hit creatives. This way, you actually never run out of ideas for hit creatives. And for the statics, say you don't like something in any of them, you can actually make changes to these. If I come over here, I can see the entire reasoning why this creative was built, but say there is something I don't specifically like about it. So I could click on this make change button over here and go ahead and change that. Change this headline to Daily Calm Cream. And I'm just going to put that in code so it picks it up exactly. And all I have to do is just hit generate, and it's going to go ahead and make that for me. So as you can see, now it says Daily Calm Cream and everything else on this creative remains the same. So if you want to swap a headline or change a background color, you type what you want and the agent updates the creative without any manual design work. Once the variations you want to ship are good to go, you export each one of them in whatever aspect ratio you need. So I'm just going to show you that as well. So I'm just going to go on download all aspect ratios. And here I can choose every single aspect ratio that I might require. So on Meta, maybe I want to use 1:1 and 4:3. On TikTok, you may want to use a 9:16 version of this. So you just select these and you hit generate aspect ratios and you should have it. So you get the assets ready to drop straight into Meta, TikTok, Google, or Snapchat without resizing anything yourself. And as those variations run, the tagging agent is already tagging the new performance data, which means the next generation cycle is informed by more data than the previous one. So what this agent actually does is it watches every Facebook ad creative for fatigue patterns based on the criteria you set, and the same monitoring runs across every other ad network you have connected. So to see something like this, you would have to create a fatigue report. So I can come onto this report section over here inside Creative Analytics, click on this plus icon, and we have standard templates for reports. Over here, all I have to do is select the fatigue report. So what we can see over here is a classic fatigue report. If I click on the fatigue settings, it shows me that these creatives have either shown 5% drop in CTR in the last 3 days or a 5% increase in CPM over the last 3 days. I could also make this an and filter if you want to be a little bit more strict about your fatigue monitoring, or I could add other conditions as well by selecting a metric that I care about over here. So maybe I might care about conversions and I want to see the moment a conversion drops by 10% for 3 consecutive days, I want to eliminate it. I could add that in as a filter criteria as well. And as soon as one of your creatives crosses your fatigue threshold, you get an alert through an email or Slack so you can act before it spends more of your budget. This way, you can move the budget off a fatigue creative before the decline gets worse instead of finding out before you've already spent a chunk of your budget. The second part of this is new creative tracking. Every single time you launch a new batch of Facebook ads, you set custom success criteria for what a winner looks like a ROAS above 3.5 or a CPI under a certain number or spend share. I again have something like this set up for Segwise, but I'm just going to show you how to create a new one. So I come in the same report section over here and I click on launch report. I'm just going to discard the previous report we made. So this is what the launch report criteria currently looks like, and this is the criteria for it. So if I want to look at spend share over a certain percentage, that's what I want to track. So I'm just going to put, say, 20% over here. So none of my new creatives have basically crossed 20%. But if I was to put something as low as 2%, I can see that I have 5 creatives. This is a Segwise asset test that I'm currently running for Segwise. And these are the creatives that have already taken over more than 2% of the spend share in my Facebook ad campaign. The agent watches each of these new creatives that you've launched against the targets you've set, and it notifies you the second one of them hits the target, so you can scale it before the testing week is done. The third and final part of this is competitor tracking, which gives you visibility into what your competitors are running on Meta without manually checking the ad library every single day. So to see that, I'm just going to go over here on, I'm going to discard this and I'm going to come over here on this tab, which is the competitor insight tracking. And over here, you should be able to see 2 tabs, which is discovery and following. In discovery section, these are the competitor insights. Over here, I can see the latest ads, the longest running ads, and the ads with the most impressions amongst your competitors. I could also go into following over here and see the different competitors that I'm tracking. So for the sake of this video, I've added Arcads, I've added Atria, and I've added MadGeeks over here. And if you want, you can add a new competitor as well by simply pasting their ad library page link. Once you add a competitor, the agent starts tracking every ad they are running across Meta and applies the same multimodal tagging to their creatives as it does to your creatives. So now you get to see their hook patterns, their CTA styles, and how those are changing over time. And the agent is also able to show you which angles they're leveraging that you aren't and which ones are saturated across your category. So your next brief is built around those fresh angles. To see this in action, you can again come back to the creative strategy agent or the AI chat feature and ask it questions about your competitor data. So what I could do over here is I could ask it something like, what are the top headline themes being used by my competitors that I'm lacking? I could inquire about something like this, identify what the gaps are between my creative strategy and my competitor's creative strategy, and then start working upon that as well. So the agent has come back saying that it analyzed 28 top ranked ads launched in the last 90 days across the 4 track competitors. 9 of them were from Motion, 8 from MadGeek, 7 from Atria, and 2 from Arcads. The gaps over here, number 1 is unfair advantage or competitive edge framing. Who uses it? So Atria across every single top ranked ad. Their ads consistently open with the claim that using their tool gives you an asymmetric edge over competitors. That's great. That's not something we're doing. Segwise's current angles are framed around fixing internal inefficiencies like manual tagging, messy workflows. We don't have any sort of framing around beating competitors, so that's something we can definitely look into. There's a free high-value educational content as a primary offer, which Motion does with their reports. Our ads drive directly to the product. We have no ads running on the educational content or lead gen content strategy. So that's something for us to look at. We do have a bunch of reports, so we can start advertising those as well on Meta because it seems to be working for our competition. Then there's also named AI agent persona as a headline anchor. Atria has named one of their agents as Raya, and they have a whole positioning around Meet Raya, the AI marketing agent trained on 5.3 billion in ad spend data. Again, this is not something that Segwise does. So like this, you can identify different gaps between your creative strategy and your competitor's creative strategy and start acting upon it. If you want to run this on your own ad accounts, you can try Segwise for free by clicking the first link in the description. All you need to do is you just need to plug in your ad networks and add your competitors. The whole process should take you less than 5 minutes. Ad networks is really simple. It's an OAuth process. So if you have access to your ad network accounts, you should be able to connect your networks in a very short span of time and really fast. Then you just let the Segwise agents handle everything for you, from the tagging, the analysis to the generation and monitoring. So you can stop spending your week pulling reports and start spending it finding new patterns and new winning angles that you can start testing and increase your creative generation and creative throughput. So again, you can just get started with Segwise for free by clicking on the top link in the description. And if you want to go deeper on analyzing Facebook ad creatives, then check out this video next.